that's on record now. You ready? And wait.
So good morning, Friday morning here at Case Flower School, and our little tuition this morning is going to be on how to treat gladiolis and how to prolong the life of them and how to get the best value. So gladiolis are gladdies. I think most people seem to call them gladdies. Like, they're in season in August. Like, August is the month for them, and this is when you'll find that they'll be in flower in your garden. But they're readily available, like, you know what I mean, all through the summer, and even for the month of September and October, you'll still be able to buy them locally in your flower shops or even in your local supermarkets, and they're quite reasonably priced. Now, the great thing about a gladioli is you do get a long time out of them, because the flowers, so these are just like newly in here for our delivery, so you get lots of flowers, you see, going all the way up the stem. But lots of people contact us, you know, that way, and they say, first of all, not all their flowers open. So once a flower is showing colour, so see them little pink tips there, every one of them I can guarantee will open if you treat them properly. But if you don't condition the flowers, I can't guarantee. You'll probably find the first two bottom ones will definitely open, but the others could actually die closed. So that's what I'm going to show you today, some of the tricks. The other problem people have with gladioli is when they go to use them in flower arranging. This little crooked bent piece to me is like a little flag at the top. It's kind of a little bit distracting, and maybe you like it. If you like it, that's fine, but personally I find if you're doing like an upright arrangement or a modern arrangement, that to me can be a little bit distracting, so I prefer to remove it. So when I'm talking about gladdies at the school with our students, we always talk about removing the tips of the gladdies, and this is what we class as being the tip of the gladdie. So it's where there's no colour. So I can see here there's still a little bit of pink, and there's still a little bit of pink, and then we've absolutely nothing. So if it was me, I would break that tip. So this is what we call the tip of the gladdie. I would take all that or remove all that part. And I don't use a knife, I just get my fingers, just do that, and that's the part I'm removing. So now my gladioli is all the goodness, or you know what I mean, will all be pushed towards the flowers. Because this part here is a little bit like you know, a new baby, right? And it's at the top of the mammy. And what the mammy is going to do is she's going to push all her goodness to her baby, you know what I mean, for it to thrive and open. But the thing is, this is never going to open. Like, it's never, ever, ever going to open. And it's taking all the goodness from the rest of the flowers. So by removing that part, getting rid of it, you can use it in the back of your oasis if you want, but get rid of it. It'll encourage all the flowers now to open, because the mammy is going to look after the rest of the babies. So I'll do a couple of them, because again, you're going to be nervous about it. So we take up another one here, and you can see the little bit of pink, you see, going all the way up the stem. And again, now you could choose to leave a little bit of bud if that's what you want. I'm going to break it here and just literally go in there, just break it off, and you just throw that in the bin. So there's our second one done. And then we take up another one. And again, you can see the pink flowers, you see, coming up the stem, a little bit of bud here. You can choose to leave that little bit of bud on, just come along there, just literally snap it and throw it in the bin. I wonder who's over there getting all them bits of gladioli tips thrown at them. So as you can see, it's really easy to do. And when I buy in the gladdies, this one has been done already. When I buy in my gladdies, I do this to all our flowers, and you can see it's no big deal. I'm not putting any effort into it. And that's all our gladdies now. Do you see the way the tops of them, they're much, much nicer. So if you do that to all your gladdies, as I said, it'll encourage all your flowers to open, so they look much nicer, but it'll also prolong the life of them. Do you know that way? Because now all the goodness is going to be pushed into all the flower heads. The next thing you need to do is cut the ends off them. Now they are quite thick, and normally they're quite long when you buy them in. So you can see how thick the bottom of that stem is. And there's a lot of leaf on it. And again, if you've been watching any of our tutorials there, like, you know what I mean, now this leaf is not as bad for polluting the water, you know what I mean, but we will try and remove some of the leaf. But also, if you're using it in flower arranging, like, it means the end of that stem is very, very thick. Now a lot of people, what they would do is they would start removing all the leaves, you know what I mean, and they'd be pulling them all off. What I would prefer to do, I'll just take up another new one, what I would prefer to do is cut the flower first, okay? So again, decide on what length or height you want these gladdies. And you're going to cut at least an inch, you know what I mean, you can cut more than an inch, you know what I mean, at least an inch on a slant. So by cutting the flower first, a lot of the leaf falls off real easy. Now this one isn't, this one's just going to pull off. But what I'm trying to say is, instead of at the beginning removing all the leaves and then having to go and cut the flower, if it was me, I would prefer to cut the flower first. So go along, cut the flower first, some of that leaf will come off, and then remove the rest of them. And you see them ones there came off real easy. So again, go along, cut on a slant, And then you can see that one just had to be really pulled, and that one there came off really easy. So that's what I would do. So now my stems will look like this. You can see quite narrow now at the bottom. I don't have all that thick foliage. So if you're using it in flower range and you know it's much thinner going down into your foam, and a lot of that heavy leaf has been removed. Where these ones where I haven't removed them, you can see it's quite thick. Okay, the big bunch of them there. You can see it's quite thick at the bottom. Another hint, if you're using these in flower arranging, okay, so this is great by cutting on a slant. You open up a bigger hole and the flower can drink the water, you know, much faster, hydrates faster. But if you got the end of the stem and you cut it into like a dagger, see if I kind of cut it into that real sharp point, when you're inserting it into oasis, it'll slide into the oasis or into your floral foam much easier, and it'll anchor itself down into your floral foam, so it's less likely to fall out. So if you cut your stem on that point or dagger, only when you're doing floral foam. Now most of the flowers have a front and a back. The front of this flower is probably looking at you at the moment. Now I'm just going to turn it around, and the back, but you can still see at the back, you can still see a lot of colour. But just that as the flowers open, most of them will probably point in that direction. So when you're inserting it into the floral foam, make sure that the right side of the flower is looking at you before you anchor it down. The worst thing you can do is press it into the floral foam and then start twisting it or manoeuvring it, you know what I mean? Get it in the right position first. Again, on some of our tutorial videos, we will be showing you how to make flower arrangements and what way to hold the flower while inserting it into our floral foam. Now back to say inserting these into water, which I have covered again on some of our tutorial videos. First of all, make sure your vase or the container that you're going to display or store these flowers in is sterilised. Again, if you go to our blogs on our website, our website is flowerschoolisland.com, click on the blog button, and in the drop down menu just look for the tutorial on sterilising your buckets. So make sure your vase, your container is sterilised, and what I would recommend is maybe use some flower food. And if you buy your gladiolis from a florist, they normally will provide you with flower food, or you can actually just go into a flower shop and buy the flower food off them. The directions is wrote on the packet. It tells you how much flower food to use to the quantity of water. So put flower food into your water, drop your nicely conditioned gladdies into your water, and you should get between 7 to 10 days, depending on how warm the room is. And as some of the flowers, the bottom flower, that's going to be one of the first ones to open. So when you feel that that one is a little bit tired, it's a bit like deheading your plants, you know what I mean? So just dehead it and take off that dead flower, and again that'll encourage all the rest of them to open. I hope this video has been of some help to you. I hope you have learned some new tips and new tricks. If you have any questions at all, feel free to email me here at the school at info@flowerschoolisland.com, or if you're watching this on Instagram, feel free to comment below. Thanks a million for watching.
12 people.
Okay.
Right. Very good, very good. Other people still on record.